the photo frame that said his name. The frame on our bookshelf was smarter than it had any right to be. It learned faces you didn't tell it to learn, and it remembered moments you weren't ready to remember. It sifted through our cloud of years and curated a stream that made our living room look like we'd lived deliberately. I let it. I liked the lie. On a Tuesday, the frame paused on a picture of Tess at a bakery window, cheek in her palm, hair up, eyes soft in a way that means she forgot anyone was watching. A sliver of glass reflected someone just out of frame, the shoulder of a navy jacket, the suggestion of a jaw. The frame did its bright, helpful thing. A small label bloomed in the corner like a polite accusation. Tag Rowan. I didn't know a Rowan, the frame did. It held the suggestion there, blinking. Tag, as if nomming were housekeeping, as if cleaning could be painless. Tess, I said. She was in the kitchen pouring coffee like it owed us interest. Who's Rowan? She set the mug down with care and stepped into the doorway, drying her hands on a towel like she was about to touch evidence. She looked at the photo, then at me, then at the photo again, the way you reread a sentence because you want it to be different. He's from the grant committee, she said. He thinks in rectangles and calls people friend instead of their names. Does the frame know him? Her mouth tipped. The frame knows everything we never told it to know. I watched the reflection in the glass. The navy shoulder had the posture of a man who makes a habit of arriving on time. Why does it want me to tag him in our house? Because he was near me once, she said. She offered the coffee like a piece that hadn't been negotiated. The frame is a gossip. It confuses proximity with intimacy. We both laughed softly because it was the right move. Later, Tess left for the university with her bag full of papers that needed approval and teenagers who needed permission. The frame, obedient as a dog, shifted to a beach picture where we look like we understand how to relax. I told myself a story about algorithms and coincidences, and the story worked until lunch. At 12:08, my phone chimed with a notification. New memory, people with Tess. It was the frame's companion app, chipper as a helpful friend. I pressed it. A short montage began. Tess at a fundraiser, Tess at the river, Tess in an elevator mirror with someone's shoulder in navy, Tess at the bakery window again. Each time the app asked, as if letting me choose intimacy, spelling, tag Rowan. This time the suggestion came with a little gray icon I recognized. Photos had been added by shared library Rowan. The frame wasn't just guessing, it had been fed. I sat back in my chair as if the truth had weight. I am a systems analyst. People pay me to tell them where their edges leak. There's a particular cold that lives inside you when you realize your real life has an edge you hadn't seen and water on the floor. I walked to Loom because answers live there sometimes. The cafe smelled like citrus and ambition, and the plants looked better cared for than certain men I know. Anna stood by the register with her sleeves rolled to her elbows and an expression that made confessions consider behaving. "You look like software ate your breakfast," she said, handing me a glass of water without waiting for money. "The frame tagged a man," I said. "It wants me to pretend I invited him. It wants you to authorize a version of a story it's already told," she said. "That's what tags are for." "Rowan," I said, "Grant Committee, Navy coat." "I know the coat," she said. "He likes reflective surfaces. He thinks collecting people is the same as lending his name to things." "Is Tess?" "Borrowed?" Anna shook her head. "No, seen." "Yes. He asked her to consult on copy for a donor letter. He's good at making hunger sound like investment. She went twice to the bakery window because the light there makes everyone forgive themselves for wanting." I swallowed hard because the baker at the window was in my living room, blinking Tag Rowan. How do I ask without staging it? I asked. How do I not audition for injured? Anna tipped her chin toward the corner. Mara sat with her red scarf folded neatly, a notebook flattened by a rubber band, eyes like she collects accurate mistakes. She didn't stand. She waved me over with the authority of a person who knows how to hold a scene still. Choose whether you want spectacle or intimacy, Mara said before I opened my mouth. Spectacle is an audience. Intimacy is a door. You already own one of those. Intimacy, I said, wanting to mean it. Then go home early, she said. Put the frame on mute. Ask for a sentence you can live with, not a verdict, a sentence. The living room felt like a mouth when I got back. I pressed and held the frame's button until it dimmed, the display going to black like an eyelid. Tess came in at 6 with the wind in her hair and paper smudges on her fingers. She saw the dark frame, frowned, and then saw my face and relaxed to the kind of alertness we reserve for delicate surgeries. Say it, she said. Why is he in our pictures? I asked. Not his body, his name. Because he put himself there, she said. He sent me a shared album called Possible Lives. It had the bakery window and the elevator mirror and the fundraiser where I corrected his opening sentence because it made the donors sound like predators. He likes to curate what he doesn't own. And you? I looked, she said honestly, twice. Then I turned it off. I didn't delete it because I wanted the proof that a good no still counts. Did you? I stopped. Because what came next was a ritual that always embarrassed us both and never helped. She saved me. I didn't kiss him, she said. He tried to make tagging into a thesis about belonging. I told him tags tidy up stories that should remain complicated, and he laughed at me for caring about words, which is how men ask you to stop being inconvenient. I let the frame stay dark and stepped closer. I'm angry, I said, precise about the target, at the part of me that wants to outsource trust to a device, at him, at how elegant it is to be the kind of man who sends an album called Possible Lives. I'm angry at the part of me that wanted to be in a possible life, she said. It's cheaper than the one we pay for together, and it looks good from exactly one angle. We cooked badly and ate on the floor and let the dog split the difference between our knees. Then we went to the bedroom not to fix something, but to make one thing indisputably ours. We kept it careful. Intimacy is an instrument. You don't bang on it if you want music. Tess slid my shirt up with slow hands, and I felt the rasp of cotton like punctuation. She put my palm where her ribs hide their secret and pressed, an instruction and a trust. I kissed the hinge of her jaw, that small, holy place where decisions sit, and she said my name in the softened way that means keep going. We asked each other tiny, exact questions with our mouths and answered with breath. We laughed once when a sleeve refused to behave, and she rescued me with her teeth. We sighed at the same moment when that private rhythm we own alone arrived like a tide we had invited all along. Heat is so much better when it's not performing. When we found the edge and went over it, it felt less like a ceremony and more like a signature we both recognize across a document we actually read. After, she laid her cheek on my chest and traced a little circle where I keep my unresolved things. I won't let him name me in our house, she said into my skin. I'll take his album out of the cloud and drop it in the trash like a letter I read twice and learned from and don't need to keep. Let me help, I said, and let me be petty afterward. We sat at the table with our laptops like bureaucrats for the soul. She revoked permissions with the kind of satisfaction usually reserved for not untying. I opened the frame's settings and turned off suggested tags, shared library, people recognition, and a toggle labeled unhelpfully Delight. We kept random. We kept shuffle. We kept play song to the end before bedtime as a promise we made to ourselves months ago. At 10, a message arrived on my phone from an unknown number that wasn't unknown. "You're nobler than necessary," it read. "But noble is also a style. If you're going to keep her complicated." It was signed with an initial that pretended to be humble, R. I let myself imagine a response that would make him flinch, a line so perfect it would trap him in a mirror. Then I remembered my own face and our dim frame and the dog asleep on Tess's feet like a comma. I wrote, "We aren't a purchase, we're a practice." Then I blocked the number because elegance is a finite resource and he'd already spent enough of mine. In the morning, the frame woke to a picture of Tess and me painting our hallway a color that looks like confidence feels on good days. The label said nothing. It didn't ask me to bless a stranger's presence in our house. It asked me to remember. At the office, I told Anna thank you with an iced coffee she didn't ask for and a note that said, "We kept our door." She sent back a photo of a plant leaf catching sun like forgiveness. Later at Loom, I saw Mara with her scarf and her pen and her face that makes lies go sit in the corner. I slid into the chair across from her and placed the blocked number screen face up like a trophy I didn't want. "We chose intimacy," I said. "Good," she said. "Spectacle would have been more interesting for your acquaintances." That night, Tess got home early and pulled me toward the balcony because the city had decided to blush for us. We took 2 oranges to the bathroom and peeled them over the sink and let the sharp, wet smell make the room new. And we said our names in full like the first day of school, and we laughed because we sounded like we were pretending to be ourselves. And then we sounded exactly like ourselves. We made rules because rules keep boredom from staging a coup. 1. No device gets to suggest a person. We bring names in through our mouths or not at all. 2. If beauty appears in reflective glass, we note it and keep walking unless both of us stop together. 3. Novelty is a chore. We take turns bringing it home. The wrong hour for the right thing is my job this week and hers next. 4. If we miss the wrong life, we say it out loud and sit on the floor until the wanting becomes a shape we can set down. A week after we turned off Delight, we moved the couch 2 inches and the light forgot us and learned us again. The frame played a picture of my mother holding Tess's hand, the summer we had to be brave in a hospital that smelled like peppermint and ammonia. After, the frame offered us a suggestion we could live with. Tag, home. We didn't have to press anything. We let the image stand unnamed because we knew. At 2:06 one morning, the frame pulsed blue and I lay there ready to be angry at it for waking us. It was only a software update, polite and brief. Tess rolled toward me and tucked her knee behind mine, and in the numbers and the darkness we said the smallest vows we know how to say. You. And then, again, you. The dog sighed like a critic who's finally gotten what he came to hear. We are not pure. We are answerable and occasionally ridiculous and always learning. Sometimes, at the bakery window, we will stand close enough for the frame to think a stranger belongs to us. We will let the frame be wrong. We will go home and find each other in pictures that haven't been taken yet. And when a label tries to tell us who we are, we will choose the better work. To say each other's names on purpose in a room that needs no tag.